There is a version of you that you have not met yet. A version so cold, so focused, and so consistently disciplined that if you met him today, you might not even recognize him. You might even be afraid of him. Most people think discipline is about waking up early, eating healthy, or working hard. But they are wrong. Real discipline is not just a habit. It is an act of war against your own weakness. It is the ability to look at your emotions, your tiredness, and your excuses, and bury them deep. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this. He did not write for saints. He wrote for strategists. He knew that if you want to hold power in a chaotic world, you cannot be soft. You cannot be predictable. You must become like a force of nature. When you become truly disciplined, people don't just respect you. They start to feel nervous around you. They sense that something has changed. They see a man who can no longer be manipulated. A man who has stopped arguing with himself. And that scares them. Because a man who cannot be defeated by his own mind cannot be defeated by anything else. You are here because you are tired. Not physically tired, but tired in your soul. You are exhausted from your own inconsistency. You are tired of making promises to yourself that you break before noon. You watch other people move forward while you stay stuck in the same cycle of motivation followed by failure. You want to know how to escape. You want to know how to build a mind that cannot be broken. I am going to show you how. But listen carefully. This is not normal self-help. This is self-destruction. We are going to destroy the weak, dependent, emotional part of you so the ruler inside you can rise. We are going to apply the ruthless philosophy of Niccolò Machiavelli to your daily life. By the end of this video, you will understand why being liked can be a weakness, and why being feared through your discipline is the highest form of freedom. But you must listen carefully. Because the secret is not in what you add to your life. The secret is in what you are willing to destroy. Most men are slaves. Slaves to their impulses. Slaves to their phones. Slaves to the opinions of people they don't even like. The moment you start this path, you stop being a slave. You become your own ruler. But being a ruler has a price. Are you ready to pay it? Phase 1, the discipline of silence. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience who you really are." The average man tells everyone everything. He announces his plans. He posts his workouts. He declares his new era on social media before he has even worked for one full day. He looks for validation for effort he has not even made yet. This is why he fails. He releases the pressure before the engine even starts. You must do the opposite. You must become like a ghost. True discipline requires silence. It requires darkness. When you constantly talk about your goals, you are asking for approval. You are asking the world, is it okay if I become this? Stop asking. The most dangerous man in the room is the one who listens, observes, and says nothing. When you become silent, you create a strange space. People start to feel uncomfortable. They begin to project their fears onto you. They wonder what you are doing. They wonder why you no longer need their attention. This silence becomes your armor. It protects your intentions. When you work quietly, you make mistakes that no one sees. You fix them without judgment. You grow stronger without the interference of other people's doubts. Imagine disappearing for 6 months. No announcements. No explanations. Just work. The gym. The business. The mind. You cut out the noise. You remove the cheap dopamine. You walk away from toxic friends who only enjoy you when you are drinking with them. Then one day, you return. But you are not the same person anymore. You come back sharper. Stronger. Your presence feels different. You don't need to tell people you changed. They feel it. They see it in your posture. They hear it in the way you speak less. This is the discipline of the ghost. It scares people because it reminds them of their own lack of focus. It reminds them that while they were chasing attention, you were building power. Start today. Stop explaining yourself. Explaining is the language of the victim. Powerful people do not justify their actions. They execute them. If you are tired, be quiet and work. If you are hurt, be quiet and heal. If you are winning, be quiet and keep winning. Your results will speak for you. And their voice will be louder than anything you could ever say. Comment below if you are ready to enter the void. I build in silence. Phase 2, Emotional Alchemy. Many people think disciplined people are robots. They think disciplined people do not feel pain, boredom, or sadness. That is not true. A disciplined man feels everything. He feels the desire to sleep longer. He feels the pain of rejection. He feels the strong urge to quit. The difference is that he does not obey those feelings. Machiavelli believed that a leader should not be controlled by emotion, but should use emotion. He said that men are mainly driven by two things, love or fear. You must apply this idea to yourself. You cannot depend on loving the grind. You will not love the grind at 4 a.m. You will hate it. You cannot depend on passion either. Passion is unstable. It is like a small flame that the wind can easily blow out. You need something colder. You need duty. Discipline is the ability to act in the opposite direction of how you feel. It is emotional alchemy. You take the heavy feeling of, I don't want to, and you turn it into the gold of, I did it anyway. When you stop asking your feelings for permission before acting, you become dangerous. Think about it. If your enemy knows you only work when you feel motivated, all they have to do is wait until you feel sad or tired. Then you are weak. But if you are the type of man who works harder when he is miserable, who trains harder when he is heartbroken, and who focuses deeper when he is angry, you become unpredictable. You become immune to circumstances. This makes people uncomfortable. They look at you and think, why hasn't he stopped yet? He should be broken by now. They do not understand that you separated your actions from your feelings. You treat your emotions like the weather. You look outside and see a storm. You acknowledge it. Yes, it is raining. But you do not cancel your mission because it is raining. You simply put on a coat and keep walking. This is the Machiavellian way of controlling yourself. You are the prince, and your emotions are the rebellious citizens. You listen to them, but you do not allow them to rule the kingdom. If they rebel, you control them. Start practicing the 3-second rule. When the alarm rings, you have 3 seconds. If you think about it for 4 seconds, your brain will convince you to stay in bed. Your brain is built for comfort, not greatness. It is designed for survival, not success. You must skip the negotiation. 1, 2, 3. Move. Do not think. Thinking becomes the enemy when you are weak. Just move. Your body must follow the command. Over time, your brain rewires itself. You stop being a man who tries to be disciplined. You become a machine that works no matter how it feels. This is how you become untouchable. When your internal emotions no longer control your external actions, you are finally free. Phase 3, Turning Isolation into a Weapon. Machiavelli knew that to keep power, a ruler sometimes has to stand alone. He wrote that a wise prince should depend on what he can control, not on what others control. Look at your circle. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they pushing you forward, or are they comfortable? Most people are afraid of being alone. They fill every quiet moment with podcasts, music, texting, or scrolling. They cannot sit quietly with their own thoughts. Because their thoughts tell them the truth. Their thoughts tell them they are wasting their potential. If you want terrifying discipline, you must accept isolation. You must be willing to walk away from people who do not support your mission. Yes, it sounds harsh. And it is. But it is necessary. When you begin to rise, people will try to pull you back down. Not because they hate you, but because your growth reminds them that they are standing still. You become a mirror. When you get fit, your overweight friend feels judged. When you start a business, your lazy friend feels attacked. They will say things like, "You've changed." They will say, "You're obsessed." They will say, "You're not fun anymore." Good. Fun is the distraction of the average. You are not here for fun. You are here for mastery. You must become comfortable being the villain in someone else's story. Let them call you cold. Let them call you distant. Let them say you think you are better than everyone. You don't think you are better. You simply have higher standards. And you refuse to lower them just to make other people comfortable. Isolation is the laboratory of greatness. It is in solitude that you discover who you truly are. Without the noise of other people's opinions, you finally hear your own voice. Your vision becomes clear. You must schedule periods where you completely disconnect. Monk mode. Deep work. Call it whatever you want. Lock the door. Turn off your phone. Face the work. In that silence, you will meet your demons. You will feel boredom. You will feel anxiety. And you will fight them. When you win that fight in the dark, you will walk into the light with a confidence that cannot be faked. People can feel this energy. They sense a man who does not need them. And strangely, that is exactly what makes them want to follow you. The man who is comfortable being alone is the man everyone wants to be around. Because he is not trying to take anything from them. He is already full. Phase 4, the fear of being unpredictable. Machiavelli advised that a leader should never be completely predictable. He said it is safer to be feared than loved. Love can disappear when people see an advantage for themselves. But fear protects you because the consequences remain. So how does this apply to discipline? When you lack discipline, you are predictable. People know you will quit. They know you will complain. They know that if they pressure you enough, you will give up. You become easy to control because your weaknesses are obvious. But when you become disciplined, you become like a glitch in their system. You stop reacting. Someone insults you, and you don't get angry. You look at them, pause for a moment, and then go back to work. When a crisis happens, you don't panic. You stay calm and study the situation. If you lose money, you don't cry. You start rebuilding. This kind of reaction is very scary to manipulative people. They depend on your emotional reactions to control you. When you remove the buttons they used to press, they lose their power. Your consistency becomes your weapon. Imagine a man who shows up every single day. He doesn't complain. He doesn't brag. He simply does the work. Year after year, you cannot stop him. You cannot discourage him. You cannot distract him. That kind of man is frightening because he is unstoppable. You want to become that man. You want to become the kind of force that cannot be negotiated with. This is not about being aggressive. It is about being unshakable. Like a glacier. Slow and quiet, but strong enough to crush everything in its path. To do this, you must destroy the part of you that looks for sympathy. Stop telling everyone your problems. Stop posting about your bad days. Stop searching for people to praise you. When you look for sympathy, you expose your weakness. You show the world where you can be hurt. Machiavelli would say you should hide your wounds. Not because you are ashamed, but because you don't want your enemies to enjoy seeing that they hurt you. Stand up straight. Fix your expression. Walk with purpose. Even if your whole world feels like it is falling apart, do not let them see you struggle. This is not pretending. This is controlling the frame. You are shaping the way people see reality. You are telling the world, I am in control. And eventually, you truly will be. You fail because your standards are too low. You accepted a reality where trying is enough. Where almost is good enough. You must raise your standards. Machiavelli studied powerful empires like Rome and Sparta. They did not collapse because of outside enemies. They collapsed because they rotted from the inside. They lost their discipline. They became soft. Luxury made them weak. Right now, you are living in the most comfortable time in human history. You have heating. Food delivered to your door. Endless entertainment. Pornography, sugar, drugs. Everything around you is designed to make you soft. Everything is built to sedate you. Choosing discipline in this world is an act of rebellion. You must declare war on comfort. You must create standards that look unreasonable to everyone else. Why do you wake up at 4 a.m.? Why do you check every detail? Why do you refuse to eat that? Because I am not you. That is the thought in your mind. You don't say it out loud. You simply live it. When you hold yourself to a high level of excellence, you reveal the mediocrity of people around you. This is why they hate it. Your existence challenges their excuses. If you can do it, why can't they? It is easier for them to call you crazy or obsessed than to admit they are lazy. Let them think that. A Machiavellian man does not lower himself just to be understood by fools. He forces the world to rise to his level, or he simply leaves it behind. You must become ruthless with your time. Time is the only resource you cannot replace. Every second you waste arguing with fools, scrolling through social media, or worrying about things you cannot control is a second stolen from your future empire. Protect your time like a dragon protects gold. Be hard to reach. Speak briefly. Speak clearly. When people realize your time is valuable, they stop wasting it. When they realize your attention is rare, they start respecting it. Discipline creates scarcity. And scarcity creates value. When you become so disciplined that your actions look almost mechanical, you rise above the competition. Most people are competing in the average league. Very few people reach the top. The air is thin at the top because very few people have the strength to survive there. Climb there. Everything feels different. The view is different. The silence is different. Phase 5, the death of the old self. This is the hardest part. This is where you must hold a funeral. To become the man that people fear, you must kill the man you used to be. You must kill the version of yourself that needs to be liked. You must kill the version of yourself that apologizes for having ambition. You must look at your past, your mistakes, your trauma, and your embarrassing moments. Then close the door. Machiavelli said there is no way to avoid war. You can only delay it, and that delay helps your enemies. Right now, you are at war with your past self. If you do not destroy him, he will destroy your future. He will pull you back into old habits. He will whisper in your ear when life becomes hard. Just take a break. Just have one drink. Just skip today. You must be ruthless. You are shedding an old skin. It hurts. It leaves you exposed. But it is the only way to grow. You might lose friends. You might lose a partner. Your family might misunderstand you. This is the price of greatness. Do not complain about the price. Just pay it. Because after that death comes rebirth. A new version of you appears. Leaner. Sharper. Faster. A version of you that works with logic instead of emotion. A version of you that sees life like a chessboard, not a playground. This new version of you is intimidating. He might even scare you a little. And that is normal. Power is always frightening. And you are building power. Not power over other people. That is tyranny. But power over yourself. That is true greatness. When you walk into a room with complete self-control, you carry a different energy. People move out of your way. They don't even know why. But they can feel that you are not someone to play with. You carry a certain look. The look of a man who has seen darkness and walked through it. The look of a man who has conquered his own mind. There is no greater victory. The Stoics knew this. Machiavelli knew this too. The man who conquers himself is greater than the man who conquers a city. So what happens when you fully commit to this path? When you truly become this disciplined? The noise disappears. The anxiety that has been buzzing in the background of your life for years slowly fades away. Because anxiety comes from knowing you are not prepared. It comes from knowing you are lying to yourself. When you become disciplined, you have nothing to hide. You know exactly who you are. You know what you can do. You stop fearing the future because you are actively building it. You stop fearing other people because you know they cannot outwork you. You stop fearing failure because you understand failure is just information for the next attempt. You finally become free. But it is a cold freedom. A lonely freedom. It is like the freedom of a wolf standing on a hill and looking down at sheep inside a fence. The sheep are warm. They are safe. They are fed. But they are trapped. The wolf is out in the cold. The wolf is hungry. But the wolf is free. And this is the decision you must make today. Do you want the comfort of the herd? Or the power of the hunt? You cannot have both. Machiavelli wrote his philosophy while living in exile. He lost his position. He was tortured and pushed out of society. But in that darkness, he wrote ideas that changed the world. He did not need applause. He needed truth. Your discipline is your truth. It is the one thing that truly belongs to you. People can take your money. They can take your job. They can take your reputation. But they cannot take your discipline. They cannot take your ability to endure. That is your fortress. That is your throne. Listen carefully. The world is becoming softer. The world is becoming louder. The world is becoming more chaotic. And that is your advantage. While others grow weaker, you become stronger. While others get distracted, you become focused. While others chase comfort, you chase the edge. You will scare people. Not because you are trying to. But because you become a mirror that reflects everything they are too afraid to become. Let them stare. Let them whisper. Let them be afraid. You have work to do. The path is cold. The path is steep. You must walk it alone. But now you are ready. If you have listened this far, you are already part of the 0.01%. You are the rare one. Now prove it. Comment below, I choose the cold path. And if you want to keep going deeper into the psychology of power, if you want to train your mind with ideas they never teach in school, subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell. This is only the beginning. The old version of you is gone. Now go build the new one.